maybe you can kind of pick up where you left off and talk about
Scarpa and that time frame.
Story. All right, in the mood for that?
Yeah.
All right. See ya.
Over the past few days of doing this film, I've tried to tell everybody and explain to them how drugs and AIDS and paranoia and neurotic behavior all leaves the person involved with a very poor memory. And it's something that I want to say again. I spoke on it yesterday briefly. But whoever sees this video has to understand that some of the dates and some of the pauses are not special effects to this me conversing to this camera. It's the real deal. It's a real illness, and it's a actual memory loss. I'm going to continue now where, doing my best to remember, I left off yesterday. While I'm in dorm 4, the AIDS dorm, I bump into my co-defendant on the case. I was in C95 complex, and he was in the AIDS dorm, which is probably one of the best dorms on the entire Rikers Island. The food is a little more plentiful, it's clean, and almost everything is nicer because you have a lot of civilian staff there and nurses and everything. It's still terrible. I mean, you know, I wouldn't sell it, you know, to an enemy, but it's the best of what they got. At that time, I bump into a guy who is talking to my co-defendant.
Who's your co-defendant?
And
What's his name?
My co-defendant, John Barron. And he introduces me to a guy he got a patch over one eye, older Italian guy. His name is Gregory Scarpa. And I find out at that time that he had a blood transfusion in 1985, at which time his crew, he was the capo in the Columbia crime family. He catches AIDS because the blood that his crew gave him, one of his soldiers was using heroin on the down low. Nobody knew. And he might not have even known that he was positive at that time. But somehow, you know, some of that got into Scarpa's transfusion, and he was diagnosed HIV, AIDS, not even HIV, AIDS. And he's laying up on a case that involves, he was under house arrest for certain charges. So he's in the AIDS ward, getting probably no more special treatment than we were getting. Maybe a few things here and there. He's a little celebrity. But I wanted to know where my co-defendant fit in. And it turns out that he had worked at Belmont Raceway with Scarpa's other son, and they'd be kind of, well, to make it a little brief, he took a liking to Scarpa. Scarpa took a big liking to my co-defendant. At that time, he's trying to set up, he's trying to beat this case now. So he's got a few people on a payroll over there on Rikers, and what he does is, a doctor approached me and said, listen, Charnick, we just want to let you know, we're going to be taking your blood, okay? But we're not using it in any capacity for you. Don't ask us what the results were. And I says, the only way I'll do this right is if you tell me what it's for. I want to know. And what they wanted to do was, being that I was a lot sicker than Scarpa, they used my blood, put his name on the test tubes, so that a few of the infections I had would show up in the blood that was in the test tubes. Very simple. Just wanted to make himself look sicker than he actually was. So when he went to court for the 3 attempted murders, there's a chance he might get a few years out of it. You know, he wasn't well without the AIDS. I mean, the guy's fighting cancer. He's 66 years old. But, you know, he was a fighter. You know, it's crazy because he called himself, you know, the killing machine. And a lot of people didn't take him serious, but I know what it's like out there. And you got to be a pretty tough cookie to be shylocking money and anything in that nature in the mob, and survive out there as a capo for like 35 years. As the time is going by, the little bit I thought they would do for me, because I sort of took the weight and everything, nothing ever happened. But I'm reading the newspaper, and now I see where FBI agent Del Vecchio is accusing Scarpa, or no, somebody in the FBI was accusing Agent Del Vecchio of being in cahoots with Scarpa, where Scarpa would help him get certain cases together so he can make his name busting people. And Scarpa used Del Vecchio to find out where certain people were in hiding, because there was a little war going on, so that Scarpa could take these people off the count. You know, they weren't they weren't being hidden by the Witness Protection Program or anything. It's just that they knew that it was sooner or later they were going to buy a bullet. So Scarpa went to all lengths to find out where they lived, and they had a relationship that they're not even sure, the FBI, somewhere between 20 and 30 years. There was a code name, the lady, or something to that effect. But him turning, the fact that his name arose and turned out that he was an FBI stoolie, it's hard to believe, but yet, for the reason being that when he was around, nobody said anything. But now he's dead, he can't defend himself. So maybe they're just doing this so that some of their clients can get better offers, because some people were convicted because of Del Vecchio's testimony. And if they can show that Del Vecchio was in cahoots with a mob family, then possibly they can get their clients back down, because this testimony is not credible anymore. In fact, 2 major cases came down and were reversed. The third one, the guy just lost the appeal for other reasons.